So this past winter,
I stepped off of a Greyhound bus back in my hometown of Chicago, Illinois. I go and grab my bag of bad habits from the baggage claim, and then I rode the bus to my mother's house to blow the dust off of my innocence. And at the station, before my last stop, I met a boy. He looked just like me 7 years ago. He had a cocked smile, full of hair-trigger teeth, finger fish hooked through his tongue with a hair-trigger tongue. Sat across him, I leaned forward and I said, "Brother, you can't get any higher than your call." He lit his blunt, and the smoke ring rose into a halo over his head, and it was God's way of telling me that this young man was an angel. You see, these streets are full of angels, whose wings have been sliced by the shards of shattered dreams, so we get high because we believe that this is the closest that we will ever get to heaven again. For a second, my believing was shot to hell. You see, he's got these call signals that are the remnants of Negro spirituals that are blood scraped into his chest, that his ancestors used to cling to their freedom, but he has remixed them to announce freedom. Lucy's, loose squares, 2 for the 5. People regard him as the gnat turned into a black Hades. A street pharmacist in a black vest that doubles as his lab coat, prescribing to anybody who is desperate enough to self-medicate. The entire ghetto is a weeping, bleeding gas that America has managed to cover up too well, while our black women volunteer to be nurses in our triage units. I knew that he was just a pup, but not enough bark in his bite. Chasing big dogs who chase marauders of Dodge Chargers and money that stretches longer than our skyline, but I dared him to name me one drug dealer that ever retired with a pension. Every man in his life has written him off like a tax donation to Satan. Even his boys are basketballs and wait. When the police been a block that day, I cried for Chicago, Illinois. Praying that my tears will water any audacity-ridden rose that grows from the cracks of this concrete. Wondering if God has forwarded the request of milling grandmothers to his voicemail, because it looks like he hasn't answered a prayer here since Richard Nixon got elected. If I could, I would travel back to the year 1712 and I would hand deliver this poem to Willie Lynch. I would show him a picture of this boy, and I would tell him that his plan was a stroke of genius. I would tell him to look at me. I am what happens when you plant good seeds and weeds, we choke. As my last bus pulled up, I opened the doors to my soul, and I offered him to come along for the ride. Tried to sell me a dime bag instead.